Just want to say thank you to all my people who are listening to the stories and fans out there. I know it's early in the stages and I'm getting better equipment and hopefully the stories will sound better, but as of right now, I'm doing it as cheap as I can. This is just a hobby and I really appreciate you listening. So like and subscribe and I'll try to add a story every week. This next story is a story passed down in my family called the Petersburg Trenches. Thanks and enjoy. Make sure to like and subscribe too. My great 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 grandfather fought in the trenches of Petersburg. The story passed down through my family is that he never spoke about it but once. The time he did, he said war was the most horrid thing he had ever witnessed. And he had seen it all. The 1918 flu, World War I. He lived a good life, though. He died at the age of 88, taking many of his war stories with him to the grave. My father told me a story that was more of a story than truth. Or was it? It was February 1864. The time of this war was coming to an end and the Reb Army knew it. And it was just a matter of time before it was all just a history lesson for years to come. My relative, Bannister, was in the Colquitt salient near the site of the crater when the Yanks under Burnside issued an attack. Not the crater battle, but a small offensive the Union Army launched to regain some trenches they had lost early in the Petersburg campaign. They came in waves, and a group of North Carolina and Georgia troops were defending. As fast as the boys in blue came, the Rebs dropped them like flies in a honey trap. On and on they came until the sound of retreat bugled through the smoke-filled air. My father said that this story was told to him by his mother, who, when told, seemed to tell the tale as if terrified. But the Yanks kept coming, and they were dropping like flies. The battle had stopped right at dusk, and the fight was a win for the Confederate Army, although it wouldn't mean much soon enough. Men were dying right in front of the rebel earthworks. Some still alive, but you knew they would meet their maker soon enough. There was no truce, so no bodies could be picked up for treatment or burial. Men were crying for their mothers, wives, and children. The night came, and that's when Bannister said the supernatural came as well. A light on the battlefield went back and forth on the field, back and forth, back and forth. Whoever that was, they had better retreat, whoever they came from, or they'd soon be filled with mini balls. But strangely, no one fired. The light seemed to move unnaturally, just swinging back and forth. A colonel came and picked several men to investigate. I believe he said it was Colonel Kors, Montgomery Kors. Bannister was one of them. They moved in the night towards the light, gripping their Enfield and C.S. Richmond muskets. They walked over men's bodies, some stuck in morbid poses as they had died, some with their heads shot clean off. One man, still clinging to life, grabbed my great-great-great-grandfather's leg and, in a gargling voice, said, "Help me." He said his whole lower jaw had been shot away. He then said, "Let's go, come on, we need to move on." And the man finally passed to the other life. He approached the figure with the lantern and say, "Halt! It continues to move. Halt, or we'll fire." The thing stopped and turned to the men with a sound of cracking bones. It was a skull, a face of a skull. The men with my great-great-great-grandfather turned and ran. One wounded Yankee screamed, "Don't let it take me. Please, don't let it take me." It was some sort of phantom, just floating over the battlefield. It smelled of rot and dirt. Its black eye sockets looking at me, and then with its bony hand slowly raised to its mouth, or what was left of a mouth, lifted its finger to its mouth and did a shh, and continued on its way, bones cracking. A figure then moved across the men, taking them one by one, gliding like some sort of wraith. He said he got back to the lines and told his sergeant that It must have been a Union soldier going back to the Union lines. He didn't dare say what it really was. Death was in Petersburg, Virginia in 1864, and my long-departed relative came face to face with it. If you're near the crater at the battlefield in Petersburg, Virginia, look for the sign that says Colquitt Salient. It's there, and you may just see a wraith looking for more bodies.